What's up, guys? This is Peter over at Fusion Corp coming at you with another podcast, the Gimmick Cast, here with my good friend Bernie.
Yo.
This episode is going to be YouTube Drama Cast. I think that's going to be the title of the episode, too. So if you're interested in any of the YouTube drama going on right now, this podcast is for you. All right, let's get straight into it. I mean, the big news of the week is Content Cop.
Content Cop, indeed.
Idubbz coming hard at Asian Jake Paul, a.k.a. RiceGum. Absolutely savagely roasted him. He didn't even really roast him, honestly. He just kind of brought up all the scummery that is RiceGum, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with... So, I'm not, like, a really big Idubbz fan myself. Like, I don't know. I don't like the way he uses some of, like, the words with especially along with the N-word. I don't like the... I mean, I know, like, context matters and stuff like that, but I don't know. It's just not really something I enjoy that much, but, you know, I heard about that his Content Cop was coming out, and you told me to watch it.
Yeah.
Because it was about Jake Paul. Or not Jake Paul, Asian Jake Paul. And so... I decided to watch it, and, like, you know, it's stuff that I already knew about RiceGum myself, and, like, what I thought of him as, like, a YouTube personality.
Yeah.
Although my basic synopsis of RiceGum is I think he's an asshole, basically. He's just an asshole, and it's all right to be an asshole on YouTube. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but some of the stuff that he says that he doesn't do, he's very hypocritical of doing.
Yeah.
And then especially with the stuff that Idubbz talked about, so like the rape stuff, which is not okay. And then also, I really hate it because it was really a big thing during like the pranksters and social experiments, which was like throwing money on homeless people.
Yeah.
That's just scum. That is such a scummy thing to do. That's the thing I really hate the most.
I mean, RiceGum is bottom of the barrel YouTuber. I've been calling him out on the podcast for weeks just because I don't like him in general.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got the Content Cop, which is very fitting of my disdain for RiceGum. I think he's like the most baseless, not funny comedian on YouTube. And that's really harsh, but he's not funny. Like, I've never seen him say one thing that's funny, ever. Even his, like, super big hit, which was the Jake Paul diss track,
right,
was, like, not enjoyable. I mean, he is the YouTube... He's, like, created the awful YouTube scene that we're stuck in right now, which is all the diss tracks and, like, fake drama. That is RiceGum. He created that. It's either him or Jake Paul. It's probably both.
Probably both. I mean, I didn't even think that both their beefs, like, I know they had beef, but it's not like real beef, is it?
I don't think so. They've never said that it's fake, but I don't think it's real.
Because they've appeared in each other's videos, right?
I would assume probably. I mean, they're literally the same exact YouTuber. So for them to have beef is like, it's two pots calling each other black, you know?
Yeah.
So to say. So, I mean, back to what I was saying, it's just RiceGum's content in general is so poor and just like, it's not funny to begin with.
Right.
And then you have all the other scummery that he does, which adds on to it as well, you know?
Right.
I mean, the rape comments that he made, and like the funniest thing to me in the Content Cop that I didn't know, the only thing I knew about RiceGum before his diss tracks started coming out,
right,
was the thing with the Gabby Show channel where he broke her phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Which to me is so, like, and RiceGum absolutely crushes him with it. It's so perfect, where he brings up the fact that RiceGum freaks out about somebody recording him and not telling him that he's being recorded.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the whole clips of him recording those girls on Twitch, right? He's not recording, he's just streaming it live.
Right.
You know, which is the same thing. It's recorded. So it's just like, it's perfectly in line with what RiceGum's persona is, which is like, he doesn't even know what he's portraying, because one day he'll say, oh, I'm not flexing, I would never flex on my fans.
Right.
And then the next day he's walking out front of the Supreme store with a Supreme sweater on, trying to be cool.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I don't think. I mean, his audience is like what? Like very young kids, maybe like 10 years old to like maybe high school, like maybe.
Probably just high school. I would say there's no way college kids are watching RiceGum.
I don't think college kids are, but I know that like the high school kids are, because I don't know. I kind of see like that kind of persona of kids like nowadays. Like
yeah, he's like he's like the popular kid in high school.
Yeah, I mean I don't know how old he is right now, but
he's 38. That's made that up. He's probably like 22 or something.
No, I think he's like 20. I think.
All right, I'm gonna search it up. Keep going with it.
But I don't know, man. Like I don't see. I'm not like as offended by him showing off his money. I mean, other people before him have done it before, so I can't like hate on him for doing that. And the only thing I just hate on him for is that he does it in a way that like he says that he doesn't. Like I think you made the point exactly, where it's like he says he doesn't flex for the fans, but he actually does flex on the fans, and that's kind of like an issue that I have with RiceGum, and that's like my only big gripe with him, other than like the stuff we talked about earlier with the money on the homeless people and then the rape stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not offended by RiceGum at all. I don't get offended really by anything, honestly. I mean, yeah, there's not really anything that necessarily offends me, but RiceGum just annoys me, you know?
Yeah.
I don't even know how else to describe it. He just annoys me, and I think like he sets a bad example for what YouTube is. Like even his comeback little video he did is exactly the problem with YouTube, right? Where he's talking about, oh, you're mad. He's saying this to Idubbz. He's like, oh, you're mad at me for putting out a big quantity of videos rather than quality videos, and it takes you 2 months to make one video towards me. And it's like, you're right. Like that is the problem with YouTube. You put out a video a day, you have a 3-minute or 5-minute outro that's literally nothing on the screen just so you can make an extra $50 off your video. Like, you are exactly what's wrong with YouTube, you know? It bums me out.
Yeah, but I think with YouTube, I don't think it's like him necessarily, because I think it's just YouTube in general. I think with YouTube, what they do is they reward you for as much content as you put out.
Well, yeah, there's something to be said about, like, he's just trying to run his business and make money, you know? And we try and put up a video every day and hopefully get to the point where we're making money doing it. Like, we're not going to stray away from advertisements.
Right.
But it's just the fact that he acknowledges the fact that, oh, my videos aren't very good. I just put them out just to put them out, you know?
Yeah.
And I would hope that if we ever got to that point, we would seriously reconsider what we're doing, you know? Because I would never want to put out something I wasn't happy with just because we're putting it out.
Right.
And that's YouTube in a nutshell. Like, you have the top 50 YouTubers who are just like, yeah, this video is not very good, but I need to put something out on the channel today.
I just think it should be different for every type of YouTuber. So for like the dudes that are like still under a mil, should probably be putting content out every day, because YouTube rewards you for putting videos out every day, and your fans will come back and flock to it.
Yeah.
But like when you're over 1 million views, I think you have the luxury of taking a step back, creating better kind of meaningful content.
Yeah.
And then you can put it out in like a 20-minute video, instead of putting out like these 8-minute videos like you said RiceGum does, with like 3-minute outros that are very stupid. Like I saw the one where it was like disc not found or something like that.
5 minutes of disc not found, you know? It's like, what are you doing?
Where are the discs? That's what I want to know.
Where is your disc? I mean, like, just continuing on what I was saying too, is RiceGum is like so hypocritical about the way he does it too, where he acknowledges the fact that his content might not be good all the time,
right?
But then he'll also pretend like he's the best YouTuber and his content is the best. You can't have it both ways,
right? You
can't acknowledge the fact that everything you put out isn't good and then say you're the best YouTuber. It doesn't work both ways. So when he's saying like, oh, I'm the diss track king, you know?
Right.
You're not even a musician. You don't make music. Other people you pay to make your music for you. It's just your voice.
Right. I don't know, man. I just think with the music thing and with RiceGum, I think it's just that time that we're living in right now, where the record companies are going to these types of like, what do you call them, celebrities or YouTubers?
I guess, yeah.
Where they understand that these guys have like a short lifespan to where you can capitalize the most money off of them.
Yeah.
So what they'll do is they'll give them a contract, a record signing, to come use whatever they can use. That Atlantic, for example, is the one with the Catch Me Outside girl. So they give her all the tools and stuff that she needs to make like a hit. And of course people will listen to it because these young kids are very impressionable and they'll want to listen to the whatever song Catch Me Outside girl makes or whatever RiceGum song makes. Because I mean those songs right now are doing pretty well just on the Billboard, which is ridiculous. I mean that's not ridiculous, but now that
it's pretty ridiculous.
I mean it's ridiculous that, you know, some of your favorite rappers right now are getting outsold by these YouTubers.
Not even just rappers. There's musicians I don't even listen to that I 100%, like musicians I don't even like, that I 100% acknowledge. They're much better than these people, you know?
Right.
Like RiceGum isn't a musician. He pays people to do every part of his music for him. Like, other than the fact that it's his voice, he's reading words that aren't written by him over a beat that wasn't made by him, and then it's edited by someone other than him.
I'll play devil's advocate. Let's just say he doesn't have a ghostwriter. I mean, let's just say like he collaborates with somebody, kind of like a Drake type of situation.
Yeah, regardless, it's not good.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I don't think today's music climate, you have to be necessarily good. You just have to have like a catchy beat. And you could rap about whatever you want.
And have a personality behind the beat. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It just like, I don't know. It's disrespectful to people.
Well, it just ruins the integrity of what music is.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's honestly ruined diss tracks in real music for me, too. I don't care anymore. Any musician puts out a diss track, not listening.
I think I'm blaming the Drake and Meek Mill beef for this sort of beef era that we're in YouTube.
I mean, yeah, that was actually an entertaining beef where it seemed like, I still think that was fake too, though. That's my conspiracy theory, is that whole thing is fake as well. But those are real musicians making real music. Like Drake, one of his diss tracks is literally like maybe one of his best songs of all time.
Right.
So, I don't know, man. It's rough. And then you have dudes like Keemstar, fat gnome of YouTube, the biggest troll newscaster of all time, making his own diss track.
It's just his own music.
His own music. Whatever it is, don't make it. Stop. Stick to the news. You know? I don't like him, but he's pretty good at reporting drama and making drama that he can report later. He's really good at his job. So do that. Don't make music, Keemstar. I dislike you.
Yeah, Keemstar is just one of those like really scummy dudes that I remember, because I watched the one of the YouTubers I watched is the guy he went up against, which was like Review Tech USA. Okay. So he went up against him, and this was the situation where he was talking about like the money thing, where it's like, oh, if you're broke, I can give you money. It's like you don't have to keep like complaining or whining about it.
I remember that.
And it's just, I just hate how he's like trying to white knight himself to be like this sort of like justice warrior when he really isn't. Like, I mean, I'm sure if someone asked him for money, he'd say hell no.
Oh, Keemstar is also bottom of the barrel with RiceGum, which it's troubling to me that I feel like YouTube's bottom barrel people are running the platform.
Well, yeah, I mean, it used to be like the video game. Well, it used to like before, the chocolate rains and the Leave Britney Alone stuff. I mean, it went to like the video game era where like massive like Call of Duty channels were popular. Yeah. And then it went to like these pranksters.
I mean, it makes me fondly remember the prankster era, because that was like stupid, really stupid, but at least they weren't like I don't know. It's hard to even describe, you know? Because think of some of the most popular YouTubers right now. RiceGum, we've discussed. Keem Star, we've discussed. Jake Paul. Good Lord, we haven't even discussed. These guys are making Jake Paul look okay.
That's what I was gonna sell a little bit later in this episode, was that this stuff actually makes Jake Paul look like a decent human being.
I don't even mind Jake Paul anymore, which is the hardest part to deal with. Jake Paul is not the worst dude on YouTube at this point. Logan Paul is even better, and he's awful too. Have you ever watched Logan Paul? He's terrible as well. Awful YouTuber. And then, and I know you don't want me to throw this name out there, but I'm going to just because he's taken a dip, is KSI, is like becoming one of these people. His content, at least.
Yeah, but I think he's moving towards the music scene now. I don't think... I mean, he's making YouTube.
He's not a musician either.
I know, but he's at least saying that he's trying. I mean, I'm not...
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, you could say you're aspiring to be a rapper, aspiring to be a musician, and I'll give you credit for it because at least you're trying to improve your craft and your game. But with these guys, like especially like Keemstar, it makes no sense to why Keemstar should have any music out in general.
None.
But it's just these Atlantic deals, these sort of record companies that are like, oh, we're losing money really fast. I don't know where else to turn to. Oh, wait, let's turn to these YouTubers because they get like millions of views.
Guaranteed.
And now that YouTube views are counting towards album sales,
yeah,
it makes it even 100 times worse because you could have an everyday bro. England is my city.
England is my city.
And then it turns into, here's your platinum record.
Yeah.
For everyday bro.
It's rough, dude. And then, like, and we were discussing this a little bit off camera before we started, but this whole thing has brought PewDiePie back out of the limelight, the bad limelight, for his whole scandal. But it's like, just think of, he's the top YouTuber regardless of what he does.
Right.
But so far and away, it's never going to change. At least not for a few years. And he's still at the top of the game, a dude who's throwing the N-word around, you know? YouTube's kind of, the scum is really taken over. YouTube is like Gotham City of the internet right now.
Pretty much. I mean, the internet's kind of being run by these scumbags.
Just in general, yeah.
Because, I mean, like, the talk of YouTube right now was the content cop.
Yeah.
Keemstar is also the talk. I mean, he's always going to be up there as one of the villains.
He's a villain.
And then you also have, like, the likes of, RiceGum, Jake Paul. And then it's just like, just going back to your PewDiePie thing, I think it's sad that we've kind of skimmed over what he did. I mean, like, I understand he apologized for it and all that kind of stuff, but it's still...
See, my counterpoint to that is, like, I know what PewDiePie did is super scummy, right? It's really awful that he would throw a word out like that, but like we discussed, and maybe you don't agree, but in the video we put out, I even said, like, I don't think PewDiePie is racist. I honestly don't even think PewDiePie is probably a bad person, you know? He just is not smart with his choice of words, and he shouldn't say stuff like that, and it's hurtful to a lot of people. I can honestly tell you that I would feel less scummy having a conversation with PewDiePie than I would with Keemstar or RiceGum.
It would be interesting to actually have, like, a sit-down interview with RiceGum, because I want to know, like, because the only thing I want to know is when you make your videos, what is your thought process going into it? Because I want to know when he's, like, on those days where, like, nothing happens or, like, he doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
And he just wants to put out a video. I want to know what's going through your thought process, or do you just put whatever footage you had from, like, the days before, like, today when you just went out to, like, the store, the supermarket, and you just...
Yeah. The other question I would have is, like, who he actually thinks his audience is, you know? If he's honest about who he thinks are his fans, then I would be less inclined to dislike him so much. Because if he knows he's putting his videos out for children, and that's who watches his videos, then I would say I would probably give him more credit, you know? Because he's just making the content, and it gets views, and it's for kids, which is who watches his videos.
Yeah, I mean, like, on every video that he puts in the description, it always says PG, clean, family friendly.
But I also don't think that's what he would say. I don't think he would say, "Oh, my videos are for kids."
I don't think he would, just because you would alienate your kind of tweeners, like the tweens, and like all the high schoolers that watch him. They kind of want to like imitate his lifestyle.
I think he would mention it, but I think he would also say like, "Yeah, I make my content for everybody," which is it's not for everybody.
And that's the thing. I mean, he kind of like Idubbz brought up a good point where RiceGum says, this content isn't for everybody, and if you're not one of those people, you don't have to watch.
Yeah, which is respectable, to some extent. But then when you make a point to say, I'm the best YouTuber, all these other people suck, but you're saying that, I don't know, man. I feel it's so back and forth, opposite sides of the spectrum. You can't play both sides of the fence.
Yeah, and I agree with that. The other thing I don't agree with is what he did with the YouTube Rewind, and that was, call out these channels. Yeah,
who are a part of the reason he has a career, Some of the people he mentions in that video are, like, a big reason YouTube is the platform it is today.
Right.
Like, the one that comes to my mind is Hart is on there. I don't know if you know who that is, but she was really, really popular in, like, 2013, 2012.
Yeah.
And she probably still has a pretty big following too. But you can't just like disrespect people who made the platform what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you could have said, oh, it sucked that I didn't get invited. I mean, Idubbz does it better, so I mean, I won't go into more talking about it. But yeah, I mean, I just don't agree with putting out people's names like that. It's just very disrespectful. I know people are gonna say, oh, he's like 20 something.
He's 20. I looked it up.
So he's 20. So he's a kid, you got to forgive him. But at 20, we got to learn, I mean, especially because we just got to learn the difference between, like, being an asshole and then just being, like, I don't know.
I mean, you can give him the credit. I mean, I'll say I'm 22, so it's not like he's that much younger than me,
Right.
And not that I'm as popular as RiceGum is. I probably never will be. But I would never say anything like RiceGum says. Like, disrespect other people just for the sake of making a popular video.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's just a really bad look for the entire platform. It makes people who don't watch YouTube content or who are aspiring to be YouTube content creators like, oh man, there's people on here just talking shit about each other just to make a video.
Right.
It would scare people away from the platform.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's why I'm not gonna say I'm blaming him for like maybe this like adpocalypse, but I wonder if he's like a small reason as to why advertisers don't really want to work with.
I mean, I would never want to advertise on his videos.
I don't know, because I mean we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier with the Casey Neistat thing.
Yeah.
Where I shouldn't say earlier, we like off camera, but it was that situation where you couldn't make money off these like shooting tragedies. Meanwhile, you have on CNN itself, you have advertisers running throughout the program. You have on Jimmy Kimmel's YouTube channel itself, you have advertisers running on it.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube is we're throwing this word around a lot, but it is just very apt for our discussion. YouTube is very hypocritical. And just in general, let's go to something that everybody knows is shady. The trending tab of YouTube.
Yeah.
It's so shady. It's all advertisements.
Right.
And there's a reason Jimmy Kimmel or Conan or one of these shows is always on there. There's a reason. It's because they're paying to be on there, or YouTube has some stake in their success too,
Yeah. I think it's where the most content-friendly, or not content, but advertiser-friendly content is.
Exactly. Or the people who pay YouTube to put their videos up there.
Right.
I think that's part of the reason too. That some things, like there are videos on there that make no sense. I don't think the content cop got on there, which is crazy.
I think it was on there for like an hour or so, but then it got taken down because there was a strike on the video.
Did it ever go back up once the video went back up? That's like the video had 10 million views in 20 hours.
Right.
How do you not put that on your trending tab? It just doesn't make any sense. And I didn't even mention it. I'm a big Content Cop fan, Idubbz fan. Just threw something, sorry. I'm a big Idubbz fan, so take everything I say with a grain of salt, I guess.
Right.
But really, Idubbz he's a YouTube hero. Regardless if you like his content or not, he's doing something that is respectable in its nature, you know? He's putting himself in his channel and his income in jeopardy to call out people who other people wouldn't step out of line to say something about.
Right.
You know? Which in its own right is pretty respectable, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like,
because we're small enough, right? We're small enough to the point where when I come out on the podcast and make a joke about RiceGum, right? Or say like, F you, RiceGum. It means nothing. He's never going to say anything back to us. He's never even going to hear us say anything we're saying.
right.
So it means nothing. But you get to a certain point where you have 200,000 subscribers and then stuff you say comes back to people and then they're like, oh, RiceGum just said some tweet, right? And our
Right.
channel is just absolutely destroyed. So it can happen. And Idubbz is small enough compared to RiceGum where it could seriously have affected his channel.
Yeah, but I still think, like, no matter what, I don't think he's going to lose. I mean, he'll lose subscribers. I'm not doubting that he will, but I don't think it's going to be, like, as severe as Leafy. Like, Leafy.
Oh, I mean, he's the reason Leafy got destroyed. But I think, like, and I guess my point wasn't necessarily, like, this is going to hurt Idubbz. Like, if anything, the way he puts out these videos is he puts so much effort into it that it's never going to hurt him. It's only going to add subscribers to his channel.
And that's what I wish, like, not to go, like, off topic, but that's what I kind of wish YouTube would reward now, is to reward quality over quantity. I mean, obviously, you can't get better unless you put out videos. That's obvious. But there comes to a point where you make videos, but it's very stagnant and about the same kind of quality throughout, like, your YouTube career when you get to, like, especially, like, just go with RiceGum, for example. It's, like, the same kind of quality, same kind of, like, situation, same kind of gimmick.
Yeah.
What I want to see happen is that YouTube rewards, like, hey, all right, so we want you to make better quality content, so that way these videos are actually like 16, 20 minutes, and then you're actually like doing something.
The whole video. Yeah. Which is, compare that Content Cop with the last 10 videos that RiceGum put out, right? Which still isn't a fair comparison because Idubbz took probably at least a month on that video.
Right.
I'm a pretty avid fan, so I keep a watch of his channel. At least a month he spent making that video, and you can tell in the video that it took a long time to make.
Right.
Take RiceGum's last 10 videos, and there's such a clear disparity in not only the effort that it took to make the video, but the quality of the video in general.
Mm-hmm.
But RiceGum is still making more money off one of those videos than Idubbz probably will from that one video, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's just because the way that YouTube handles the stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty poor. It needs to change. I mean, the longer videos, just their algorithm it's kind of screwy, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it really got affected when the adpocalypse hit.
Yeah.
And everybody's content, and even like before the adpocalypse, there was still that issue of losing subs, and just not a lot of videos in the subscription boxes of your subs.
Yeah.
Which is another issue. Like, I think it's time for YouTube to they need to start explaining stuff more and start being more honest with them. I think, yeah, but like someone like Philip DeFranco, I think does a perfect I think he does it for like the small YouTubers and like just the YouTuber community in general, just with this adpocalypse stuff and just with YouTube being more transparent.
Yeah.
And I just think it's time for YouTube to be more transparent with this.
Yeah.
I mean, although we don't make any money off it, and this is just more of a hobby until, you know, one day it becomes something that we can make money off
Hopefully.
of, then it's just, I feel bad for the guys that like have these channels that they work on their butts every day. I mean, just knowing what it takes to edit videos and just creating content itself, it takes a long time. Like, it takes It takes a pretty long time to just kind of put everything together of what you see as the vision.
Yeah.
And it sucks because some of these guys probably, the smaller ones, they work, like a 9 to 5, so they're not going to have that much time.
Yeah. I mean, I know for me, like, I work 2 jobs, and I do this as my hobby,
Right.
So, not that we're making money doing it, but it's something that both of us want to do, like we said earlier. It's something we aspire to, so it sucks to see YouTube's the way that they handle things,
Right.
It makes it hard for people like us to figure out what it's going to take to get to that point.
I think we're just going to have to turn into FaZe Banks and RiceGum.
We're going to do I'll dress up like RiceGum, and you can dress up like FaZe Banks.
I don't think there's been a Mexican version of anything, so maybe I'll be the first.
You'll be Mexican FaZe Banks? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'll be Mexican RiceGum.
Mexican Jake Paul.
Jake Paul.
There you go.
Mexican Jake
That's
Paul.
more fitting. I'll be Swedish Jake Paul.
Swedish.
I'm Swedish Jake Paul. Well, this just continues our topic from earlier. It's just the scum of YouTube. It runs deep in YouTube.
Oh no, we're gonna need to call up the Avengers to get rid of the scum.
This is a point that I meant to bring up earlier. Is like there's no governing body on YouTube other than YouTube itself, and the only way they punish people is with revenue stuff, right?
Strikes, revenues.
So it's just showing how much of a fledgling industry that YouTube is, because it's going to be around forever at this point. It's the newest media, like, kind of media, and it's not going to go away. YouTube's never going to go away. It's always going to be around. So
at least until Twitch. I think Twitch might take it over.
Well, at least something like YouTube will always exist, right? That's more what I mean. Not necessarily YouTube itself. YouTube as its own company could very well make some poor business choices and go away. But my point is, like, this type of media will always exist, and it's like the Wild West, Like, there's no governance over it, so people like Screen Junkies can just sweep this sexual harasser under the rug, and then this could never have come out,
Right. I mean, if this woman didn't come out and said what of her experience being an intern at the place, and how this dude was just like constantly saying some very perverted shit that I wish I could just punch him in the face.
I mean, yeah, that's YouTube. I mean, I wish I could punch RiceGum.
Maybe one day. For like a charity
RiceGum charity. RiceGum fights a YouTuber with 12 subscribers.
Hey, 13 now.
We're at 13. Yeah. Hey, that's pretty good. Let's move on. I have another topic I want to discuss.
Okay.
This is pretty important. It's a PewDiePie topic.
Okay.
Right? And it's pertaining to video games on YouTube. The guys who made Firewatch, I believe, or the guy who made Firewatch, I don't know if you know that game, came out and said, this was right after the whole PewDiePie debacle started, where he said the N-word. This guy came out and was trying to get other game developers to not let PewDiePie have video game content on his channel. They were wanting to copyright strike his video game content.
Right.
Which is a very slippery slope for YouTube, Mm-hmm. Like, that would destroy YouTube. If people started getting copyright strikes on video game content, I think YouTube would fade away into obscurity. Yeah,
I agree with you there, because video games itself has been, like, I would call it like the boom industry of YouTube.
Yeah.
Because once people were able to video capture video games using capture cards and stuff like that, and putting content out that way. I mean, that's like how Chris Smoove got big. That's how a lot of YouTubers. That's how a lot of YouTubers started out as.
I mean, PewDiePie is the biggest YouTuber,
right?
So far and away, and he's a video game channel.
And if you take video games away from it, then you're going to probably get rid of not even a majority, probably like, I want to say maybe like 70% of your audience.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, some people watch... just think about it, being PewDiePie being, like, one of the biggest channels out there.
Uh-huh.
So you're going to take away most of his audience, because I don't think people are going to watch whatever PewDiePie does, like IRL videos. I mean, maybe they will, but
not as much as they do.
Not as much as the video games.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it would just like it would kill YouTube, really. If all the big video game content creators went to somewhere else, which there are other platforms they can distribute their content through,
right,
it would really kill YouTube. Which, and my point was like, how petty that is, you know? Because what PewDiePie did was wrong, but it has nothing to do with playing a video game, you know?
Yeah.
Or putting out video game content. And when you have somebody who's going to act like that and, you know, damage the community as a whole, they can't really pick and choose what's a copyright infringement and what's not, you know, as far as playing a video game and commentating over it is concerned.
right.
Because even as far as YouTube is concerned right now, just playing a video game with no commentary or anything added onto it is not copyright infringement. You can just put a gameplay video up.
Right.
So if you're going to say that this guy commentating and doing his thing, you know, being funny to his fans is copyright, then how can you say all these other people aren't copyright infringement or infringing on your copyright, which is your game, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit, I don't want to say I'm torn about it, but I can understand, like, if he himself and his company wanted to pull out of it, I can understand that because that's their values. And that's...
But the thing is, like, PewDiePie paid for the game, right? He probably paid for it. If not, they gave him the game, which is, doesn't really change much. So he's paying for a game. There's plenty of awful people who play Firewatch or whatever game it is at home and don't put it on the internet.
Right.
But it doesn't affect how the game is played. If they're saying really negative things on the game, you know, like if PewDiePie was playing that game and said the N-word, right?
Right.
That changes the story. But if he's just playing the game and not doing anything bad, how are you going to say that's copyright infringement on a completely unrelated topic?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like that at all in terms of, I don't think you can talk about copyright infringement, but what you can say is that we wish to no longer work with him.
If they were working with him.
Yeah, if they gave him free key codes
to
the game, then I understand that completely because it's sort of like a sponsorship. If you say something stupid or if you do something stupid, then you're going to have to take the consequences with whatever comes.
I agree.
And I understand where the creator's coming, or the creator of the game is coming from, but at the same time, you can't force other people to do the same if they feel like this is something that they don't want to do and they still want to keep in contact with PewDiePie and stuff like that. I understand for like you personally as your own company, I understand if you don't want to wish to work with them ever again. Yeah. And that's your right, and that's the way you want to run your company. But you can't force other guys to do the same.
Yeah. Well, and then it goes, a little bit past the YouTube drama. You have like Nintendo. Have you heard? They have their whole program where you have to pay to.
There's
Did
garbage.
you see they just did it with streaming too?
Do they do it with streaming now?
So they didn't have. Nintendo has a program. I'll go into a little bit of explanation. Nintendo has a program, their content creator program, where if you put a video featuring a Nintendo licensed game on your channel, you have to give them half of your revenue, I think.
Ugh.
I think that's what it is. And you have to pay to be in the program. And for a long time, it didn't affect streaming a Nintendo game, but now they just added it on, which is like, it's just going to kill off Nintendo's internet presence, really.
Well, that's the thing that I watched a YouTuber video on it, and the Review Tech USA guy that we were talking about earlier. And he brought up a good point. It's just like, this is free advertisement for your stuff. I mean, when people see that Mario World Odyssey comes out and they see how beautiful the scenery is and how awesome the gameplay is.
Yeah.
How it's like almost like an open world Mario game.
Yeah.
People are going to flock to get the Switch, one, and two, the Mario game. I mean, it's free advertisement. It's free.
It's going to kill. Nintendo's shooting themselves in the foot,
Yeah, I mean, because no other company does that the way that Nintendo does. And they thought that they were going to be like, almost like Apple, where they're going to set a trend. But it backfired on them.
Well, let's just use PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, as the opposite example. Like, That game is literally the most popular streamed game.
Right.
Everybody watches PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. They embrace it, and it's made them the biggest game in the world, you know?
Right.
So I don't see how Nintendo sees that kind of stuff. They're like stuck in the past, you know?
Yeah.
I just don't see how they see that and think, oh, yeah, they're going to have to pay us to do that. It's kind of crazy to me.
Well, it kind of reminds me of the time where Nintendo, like when game companies were developing for Nintendo, that they would sign like exclusive contracts with Nintendo themselves to not make video games for other companies. And and I think they just try to do that with their streaming and their just video creating content. But I mean, no one's going to fall for that at all. I don't see. I mean, I'm sure there's people in that program because
there definitely is people.
There's hardcore Nintendo fans. I mean, they want to post Nintendo content.
Yeah, and the thing I would say too is that like some of the people, there's some people who literally make a living off of Nintendo content. So for them, it makes sense to be in the program. If you're making money from Pokemon or from Mario or Zelda, then and that's all you do, it makes sense to be a part of the program because you can't just 180 make your channel a Call of Duty channel or FIFA or whatever. Right. So for those people, it makes sense, but it eliminates just some random big YouTuber, you know, like Chris Move or Video Game Donkey or Achievement Hunter. Like those people aren't just gonna pay you to put the content one video up on their channel. So it's it's hurting Nintendo a lot more, in my opinion, than it's helping them.
And Nintendo's just dumb, man. I wish Nintendo would just realize the way that these other companies have been treating YouTubers as it's free advertisement, it's free publicity that you don't have to even pay for. You don't have to market the game on TV or make an ad on YouTube. You could literally just have someone. You literally have someone just create the content for you.
Yeah.
And you could say, you know, just remember to put the game title in the title of your video or like in the description of what the game is.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's so stupid. Very, very silly. Let's move on to something else. Some reviews. Discussions, not reviews. We don't do that on this channel, excuse me. So I've been playing a couple games, and I watched a couple movies.
Right.
I felt like they would be interesting things to discuss on the podcast. Cuphead. I've been playing Cuphead, and important to the channel because we put a video out discussing the awful reviewer incident with the tutorial of Cuphead.
Did you pass?
I did that on my first try. The game is really, really, really hard. It's really hard, but that part that the guy couldn't do, I did on my first try. So I can't imagine how far he got into the game. You know?
Right.
He probably didn't pass the first level because even the first level of the game took me a while to beat.
Damn.
It's really hard, but that game is wonderful.
Wonderful?
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Like the visuals are beautiful. Like from beginning to end, they just created this awesome world. And it's like to the point where if somebody decided to make a Cuphead like Saturday morning cartoon, I'd probably watch it.
Okay.
I'd probably watch it. The game is awesome. The gameplay is really good. It's, like I said, really tough to the point where it starts you off on a difficulty that most games you'd expect to be at the end. That's like what the gameplay would be like at the end of the game. But yeah, they jump you right into it. So I can't imagine what I'm going to have to do when I get towards the end of the game. Probably like halfway through.
Yeah.
It's really good. Movie-wise, I saw it.
Saw it?
I saw it twice in 3 days. Probably top 3 movie of the year for me so far. I loved it. Well, this is how I describe it. I love Stranger Things too. It's literally Stranger Things with a clown. It's Stranger Things with a clown. I don't even know how else to describe it. It's that show, but with Pennywise the clown. That movie is so good. It's like just they couldn't have done the first half of the book better, in my opinion, than they did, really. Because all the kids are so enjoyable to watch on screen, and they're all really funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cinematography is like incredible. It's written really well too. So that's my quick little discussion, little review-ster of the video or the movie. Excuse me. It's good. You've been watching anything? Any games you've been playing?
I decided to watch the first episode of Jaden Smith's Neo Yokio.
Okay.
Trash. Absolute trash.
Jaden Smith anime.
The anime is just absolute garbage. I wasted 20 minutes. I watched maybe 20 minutes of it or however long the thing is, and I just waste.
That makes me think of something else I wanted to bring up. I haven't even told you about this. I'm going to start a new series on the channel called the Weekly Anime Roundup. All right?
All right.
Because there's a few new shows I'm going to start watching. Anybody has any suggestions in the comments? Any of our subscribers have any suggestions? If you want to let us know, it'd be greatly appreciated. I have a couple picks. I'm not going to start it off yet and let you guys know what they are. But just know it's going to start soon, probably in a week. Because I'm waiting for one more of the series to start. And then I'm going to do just one, probably 15-minute episode a week where I discuss the episodes. And then the Dragon Ball stuff is completely separate, too.
Okay.
Just a little announcement in the middle of the podcast for you. We got anything else we want to discuss on the agenda today?
I think that's it.
I think we're good. Anyway, ladies and gents, thanks for joining us on the Drama Cast, the YouTube Drama Cast. Say no to scum on YouTube. The adpocalypse will not affect us. We don't have ads.
Well, we're waiting for one. Hopefully soon.
Okay, RiceGum is now a sponsor. RiceGum, we love you. I threw the joke in this week. RiceGum, piss off, mate. We don't like you.
All right, guys. Peace.